Hello, everybody. I'm Pat O'Day. Oh, this is very important. Nancy Guffey and Art Zone. They're going vinyl. Stay tuned.
Hi there, I'm Nancy Guffey, and welcome to a special edition of Art Zone. In honor of the 10th anniversary of National Record Store Day, we are paying tribute to that
hello, little folks. Do you know who I am?
mysterious, emotional,
I don't know. This is New Jersey childhood to me.
hardworking, reoccurring obsession,
I go looking for records pretty much every day.
vinyl. So, to get you in the groove, a bit of backstory from Laundry Room record producer, Foo Fighters, Nirvana, Presidents of the United States of America fame, Mr. Barrett Jones.
Hello, I'm Barrett Jones, record producer, and I'm a vinyl junkie. A lot of us talk about the way vinyl is superior in sound to the many digital formats out there. You know, warm, organic, analog, idiot-proof. But let's be honest, the popularity of vinyl has nothing to do with high-tech and everything to do with the experience. Admittedly, it's an experience informed by invention and plenty of controversy about who invented what. But be aware, just like the electric guitar and the hula hoop, the vinyl technology we use today hasn't changed all that much in the past 70 years.
Hello, little folks. Do you know who I am?
In 1857, Edward Leon Scott of France devised a vibrating pen to graphically represent sound on discs of paper. The phonograph recorded sounds visually but didn't play anything back. Not missing a beat, Thomas Edison jumped in and developed Scott's idea into his own machine. The phonograph was capable of recording sound and playing it back. Those first recordings were made on a cylinder covered in tinfoil. Edison's first sound playback, a reading of Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go.
About the same time, brainiac Emil Berliner entered the patent race by throwing his gramophone into the mix. His laterally cut discs would eventually kick cylinders to the curb. Some bullet points for the ensuing years, and yes, there was plenty of suing, includes wax cylinders, shellac replaces rubber, double-sided discs, the Victrola, World War II jump-starts vinyl, 45s fire up the jukebox, stereo sound, we do have two ears. Now to the present. In December of 2015, the first pressing of the Beatles' White Album, owned by Ringo Starr, sold at auction for almost $790,000. The top 3 selling albums in America, selling over 20 million each, are Eagles' Greatest Hits, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and good old Led Zeppelin 4. Voyager spacecrafts 1 and 2 each have a gold record on board. Intended for tech-savvy extraterrestrials, easy-listening aliens can play sounds and greetings from Earth, if they can figure out the hieroglyphic instructions. It's reported that last year, the sale of vinyl surpassed digital downloads for the first time ever. Vinyl has survived radio, 8-tracks, cassette tapes, CDs, streaming, and all of our friends and partners who might have walked away with a record or 6. Our vinyl collections are a reflection of who we are. Our love, hate, joy, sorrow. Vinyl is more than the music it contains. It's something we can grab a hold of and keep with us. And it seems we just can't kill it off.
Vinyl records are alive and well today because vinyl records are the king of all music formats.
This is a lacquer master. Here you go, Mark.
Thanks. Once we get this, we make these. This is the stamper. You know, if I had a third arm and I could then pull in a record, and then it would be kind of show and tell. Once we get the stampers, which are the negative of the record, we install them in the pressing table. This is polyvinyl carbonate, PVC. The PVC is loaded into the hopper, and the hopper is attached to the extruder. The extruder is the machine that delivers single record-sized portions of heated, prepared PVC. It's what we call a biscuit. The labels aren't held in place by any adhesive or anything. It's all just pressure. Once the biscuit is in the pressing table, the vinyl is between the A and B side stampers, and the force of the press closing at 150 tons presses the grooves into the vinyl. Like it's the whole waffle iron thing. As the press opens, gripper arms hang on to the record by the excess vinyl flash on the edges, and the trim table rotates the newly pressed record while a knife trims the excess vinyl from its edge. After coming off the press and passing inspection, the records cure for 24 hours on cooling racks before being packaged. And that's how you get a record. In the end, this may just be a piece of plastic, but vinyl records can change your life.
Vinyl. Howdy, I'm Brent Amaker. Let me tell you about a vinyl record that influenced my life. This is Gary Newman, the Pleasure Principle. My big brother worked at a sound warehouse in Oklahoma City. He brought this home to me. He said he didn't like it, didn't want it, and it became one of my favorite records. This guy was a trip when he came out. It's about the same time as Devo. I found this old vintage reverb tube amplifier, and I discovered that if I gave it a good kick on the side, it would make this noise that sounded a lot like the percussion noise in the song. And I would sit at home in my bedroom and I'd kick that thing over and over. At some point I got a stick, started whacking it, and that was the first instrument I ever played. After that, I went on to play other instruments. Thank you, Gary Newman. I appreciate that.
Remember 45s? The vinyl that changed my life was Elvis Presley's Hound Dog, the single. As a matter of fact, in grade school, when I was 7, my best friend tells me when he first met me, I was in the cafeteria singing Hound Dog at the table while playing Spoons, Knives, and Forks. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, just crying all the time. My parents and I were watching TV in 1956, watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and Elvis came on, and it blew my mother and I completely away. My father, not so. But Elvis, you changed my life. I went into music after that, and it's been glorious ever since. Well, you ain't never called a rabbit, you ain't no friend of mine.
Most of us have an album that we want to be buried with or we would rescue from a fire. This one is mine. More on that later. But when music is so easy to get to, from the touch of a digital finger to a command, Alexa, play Hotels. You gotta wonder about giving up living space, sometimes a lot of living space, to vinyl. For a little bit of insight, stranger receptionist Mike Nipper was willing to lay bare one collector's psyche.
When I come into a shop, it's always sort of random what's going to be there, and that's sort of the excitement. Maybe it's just about the hunting and gathering. What's happening?
How's it going?
I have a ton of records, but there may be one that I really have been looking for years. Let's see if there's any freshies. And boom. Oh, here's one. Strawberry Alarm Clock. That excitement of like finding something in public. Records, for me, wall of rare. They make noise, you touch them, they demand respect. See little people, it's pretty cool, pretty hard to find. You have to be careful with them. When it comes to like sussing out records, like I'm looking for soul 45s, like garage 45s, like 60s stuff, and like long hair psychedelic stuff, and usually like the better stuff that's not major label is just hard to come by, so it's all about patience and See what's in the racks. Sometimes being the first in line or having enough money, which unfortunately, this one's cool, is part of the game. Keaton Hopkins, I have no idea what it is, but it might have a cool track on it. In terms of money, I don't go without eating, or you know, I've at this point know how to budget, and I do sell records sometimes and make trades, whatnot, whatever it takes. So this is the church, approximately 10,000 LPs, and probably about 10,000 45s. And no, it's not a hoard. Oh, because it's curated. It's not, I don't think it's a hoard because it's curated, right? So the biggest problem with maintaining thousands of records is when you have to move. And I moved 20,000 records twice in 3 months, up 2 flights of steps, which aged me probably more than smoking. I go looking for records pretty much every day. So I guess on a scale of 1 to 10 of obsessive, weirdo, record nerd, 7.5. Here's like a $2 copy of a pretty remarkable record. I know people that have way more records and way more problems collecting records. Yeah, it's a great record and it's clean. I don't know why it's only $5, but like that would be a score. In terms of where my collecting habits are gonna go, honestly, I would probably do best to have more space, to just have more records, which sounds terrible. It's just the music, and it sounds kind of simplistic, but you know, to put like a Little Richard 45 on and just turn it up, like it just makes me want to dance, and it makes me smile, it makes me happy.
I was a rambunctious child. My brothers and I, we used to run around a lot, and so my parents had a really smooth method. They're like, you know, it's reading time, it's quiet time, and then they put on like a really good record and just kind of get us in the zone. So one record I particularly remember, because it always used to really calm me, because the melodies and the harmonies and just the instrumentation would just kind of take me on this wondrous path. And it sounded like there's children singing, and it was like super angelic. It's from Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah Band, and this tune is called Sun Shower. Sun shower, just a sign of the power of love in you, oh baby. This is a song I could always come back to and know that gave me that great feeling like I want to be a producer one day. I want to be a songwriter. I want to sing something that gives someone that kind of feeling. Sun shower got me by the hour, wanting you, oh baby. Yeah, something like that.
In high school, probably freshman, sophomore year, my record collection was pretty much all Beatles and Elton John. And what changed in 1975 or 74 was I heard this really heavy, loud band on AM radio. I tracked down the Kiss album at a record store, and I pull it out and I think, no way, this was, to a 14 or 15-year-old boy, this is pretty incredible. It sets me up at that age so that when I'm 16, I'm getting Ramones records, and then 17, I'm into the Sex Pistols. And I wouldn't have turned on to punk rock if I hadn't switched the dial to FM and started listening to harder music and learning how to play guitar. So that's this.
Hey, what's up? This is DJ Vega. This is how you spin. Basically, just right there, that was a whole bunch of stuff. That was some chirps. Then you got transformers. And then you can go like a step up and you got like crabs. That's basically the basis of scratching. You find 3 different patterns that you want to go with, kind of condense them, you make a sentence. This whole thing right here, 2 turntables and a mixer, is the backbone of hip hop. The art of DJing, this is where it begins. So if you learn how to do it on these, you can do anything. You can do controllers, you can do CDJs, all that kind of stuff. If you don't have anything spinning in front of you, you can't say that you're spinning. You can't say that you're spinning, you can't say that you're cutting. Doing it on vinyl, it sounds better, it feels better. It touches your soul when you do vinyl. This was always the cornerstone. This was always the base of how you should play music. It hasn't been beaten yet, so. In the song it did.
We're in the ballroom of Seattle's historic Stimson Green Mansion, where lots of great music has been heard over the years since the late 1800s, and that tradition is continuing with our vinyl show musical guest, Shelby Earle. Hello.
Hello.
It's so great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you know that I've been after you for many years. Some would call it stalking. I say it's persistence, right? But the timing is great because you have a brand new vinyl out, and it is called The Man Who Made Himself a Name.
That is correct.
And it's selling well.
This is
Congratulations.
it. Thank you very much.
By the way, what was the record that changed your life?
The record that changed my life, Easy, Michael Jackson, Thriller.
Okay. Good, yeah. I just want everyone to know that. Okay, so we're going to talk about this one, but why don't we introduce the band and want to start over here on keys?
Absolutely. Billy Brush is here on the keys.
Hi, Billy.
Aaron Benson on the drums.
Aaron, nice to see you.
Matt Beatty on guitar.
Hey, Matt.
There he is. Steve Baldock on the bass.
So you're going to play us a couple of tunes off the new vinyl.
Yes.
And what is the first song we're going to hear?
The first song is the title track.
Yes.
It's called The Man Who Made Himself a Name.
Awesome. Well, are you guys ready to do this thing? Yes? You girl? You ready?
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shelby Earle.
He's met you before, but he doesn't recall. He does not recall the light sharp in his eyes. He's met you before, but that was in a simpler time. Now the ghosts, they come at night, and his pockets are heavy with keys to the cities, the weight of his memories, his money, all of his longings, and everyone else's claims. He's a man who's made himself a name. He's known for his beauty, but he doesn't display not tradition.
pick up The Man Who Made Himself a Name, available in vinyl and CD at your favorite local record store, and catch Shelby live at Vashon Center for the Arts on April 22nd, and at the first annual Upstream Music Festival happening May 11th through the 13th in Pioneer Square.
Well, I started selling records out of my parents' basement in 1974 after I came back from Texas. I was selling them out of there till 1979, and then I opened my first store in 79. So this was taken in 1981 at my very first store down on Aurora when I was still young. I've been selling records almost 2/3 of my life. This is what I know how to do, okay? I don't know what else I'd be able to do. I have about 500,000 records, 500,000 items in the store. To make the place more manageable, we spent thousands of hours organizing the records. The 50s goes over to here to where it ends, okay? Probably about 30,000. 2,000 soul and funk here, a section of my soul picks. Then this is 60s, 70s, this shelf, this shelf, this shelf. Female vocals, male vocals, 15,000 classical and opera, 15,000 jazz in the jazz room. Metal, electronic, and then a section that I call sort of new alt arrivals. Then you have soundtracks, world music, gospel, spoken word, comedy, bluegrass, folk, and country. Up in the mezzanine, there's over 100,000 45. There's a section there of about 1,500 blues albums, again with a section of my blues picks. It's an addictive type of thing. Once you start collecting records, it's hard to stop. But I like to say, well, at least this is one addiction where you'll still have your records tomorrow. There's such a demand for vinyl right now. I've never sold more records in my life. I love buying and selling records. I love talking to customers. I love turning people on to stuff that I think is good. I like learning stuff from people who come in, you know. So there, cut.
When I discovered this album, I was maybe about 16, 17 years old. I was really into hip hop. I didn't even know anything about jazz, but when I came across John Coltrane's A Love Supreme, it had a certain feeling about it that was, I don't know, it just spoke to me. It changed everything I knew about jazz at that particular time. I started wanting to play the drums because back then I was playing drums. I wanted to play just like Elvin Jones. I kind of started dabbling in other music, and then I ended up playing more soul music. And then I started playing organ. Yeah, Coltrane's Love Supreme is definitely what started that train in motion. This was like the greatest album ever to me.
This album, Bob Dylan's Blood in the Tracks, changed my life because it happened to come out, or at least I discovered it, at the very moment that I fell in love with Sarah Henson, Pullman High School, and Sarah Henson then moved to Kenya 2 weeks later. Consequently, I'm dealing with heartache, and this is an album about heartache. The lyricism of Blood in the Tracks is really unrivaled in that era of singer-songwriter. Love is like a jet plane, it moves too fast. Ah, but what a shame that all we've shared can't last. I can change, I swear. I could tell you every lyric from this album from start to finish, because when I was 17 years old, all I did for a period of my life was walk around and recite these songs as if they were my words, because that's really the power of Dylan's lyricism. It makes you think that your interior dialogue is the same as his. Your own relationship with yourself is what you ultimately discover through Bob Dylan's words. Kind of do have the same profile.
So why vinyl? Why is vinyl so great? It's because, first of all, it sounds better. When you have a vinyl record that isn't compressed, there's so many dynamics. You can hear the build of the song and the quiet part of the song, and your ears are happier. That's what it looks like when your ears are happy. Yeah. They can hear everything, and they don't get tired the way they would if you were hearing compressed sound.
Which is a blast.
Just loud, loud, loud. Yeah. What we hear every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were going to create a little scenario for me to listen to right now, what would you do? And picking an artist here.
Okay, I think for you.
Yeah. Right now.
My DJ diagnosis for you.
Yes.
Is that we would do a relaxing.
Great.
Mood.
Let's do
and
it.
you have some great local records here.
Yep.
You've got these
hotels
guys.
are good. Yep.
Yeah. Ooh, brand new record from Sarah Cajon.
Oh, she's great. Yep.
We love her. Her voice sounds like a soft summer wind. And
that should be her little tagline.
She's a lovely person as well.
She is.
And we do have lyrics, so that is very exciting. Okay,
Yeah.
so you pull the record out.
And you hear the little
So pretty.
Holding it very carefully.
And you hold it carefully by the edges. There's always some dust.
Yep.
Best records always have a little bit of dust. So, very gently. All right, and put your headphones on.
Okay, and left and right, make sure I'm
Yes,
in the right.
left
okay.
is the chord here. Oh yeah, how's that? Beautiful. All right, and then just let it happen.
I love my job.
What a voice.
Oh, by the way, National Record Store Day is April 22nd, or whenever you want.
Huh?
I said National Record Store Day is April 22nd.
Oh.
Right. Or whatever you want.
This is Donna Summer on the radio, Greatest Hits Volumes 1 and 2. And man, are they the greatest. She's had such an impact on hilariously fun rainy afternoons of dancing as a child. Pulling it out of the sleeves, seeing these guys, oh, Casablanca, Oasis, Camels, just getting into it, putting it on the turntable, and slapping down the arm. Scratch, oh, see? It doesn't fall far from the tree these days. Still super careful. These records were beat to hell because we would just, you know, you almost are hypnotized and mesmerized as like just getting into lining it up on the grooves, like learning how to, oh, I want to skip that one, I want to go to this one, and all those experiences with playing records. I don't know. This is New Jersey childhood to me. This is my sister and I running around our room, sweating.
Okay, so here's the story. It's 1968, I am 8 years old, and my dad, who's a banker and he's a Republican, he works downtown. His secretary, they called them secretaries at that time, her name is Charlotte, she said, Alden, you have to buy the White Album. Everyone's doing it. So he did. So that night he comes home, he walks in with the White Album. Here's what I remember. We put it on the double album onto the little arm, you know, on the wall-mounted stereo, crank it up, and my mom and dad and my sister Ann and I, we dance around the house all night long, just going crazy to the Beatles. And instead of having it was beef stroganoff, kind of a conservative dinner, my mother served hot dogs. It was totally bohemian. And from that point on, for like, I don't know, 6 months or so, I sat behind the tall velvet-backed chair next to the speaker, and I listened to this album from front to back over and over, and to this day, I can sing the White Album from top to bottom, back in the USSR, all the way to Goodnight in order. And I'm gonna do it for you right now. Ready? Okay. Wow, flew in from Miami, BBOAC. I don't get the